Mackenzie's Raiders. His secret orders from the President of the United States. Clean up the Southwest. Make it a fit place for Americans to live. Wipe out the renegades, outlaws, and murderers. If necessary, cross the Rio Grande, knowing capture means hanging by the enemy. Discovery, court-martial by the United States Army. October 1876. Deep in Mexico, Colonel Randall Mackenzie and a handful of raiders had finally located the camp of the renegade Chiricahua Apache Gatito, a long-sought foe to be brought to justice, dead or alive.
Your brother will be mincemeat if he falls off that ledge.
Why didn't you know, Sarge? Old Tobin's part mountain goat.
Yeah, I thought something was familiar.
And now, Sarge, us Davises are mighty clench.
Spot Gatito's camp?
No. Federales. Mexican border guards.
Where?
Coming this way. Colonel, they were so close I swear I could have reached out and almost touched them.
They see you?
No, sir.
We gotta get out of here. Let's go.
Colonel! My brother!
We gotta get him out, Colonel.
Davis? Davis?
I'm all right, sir. We'd better hurry.
There's no time. We've got to leave him.
But, Colonel, he's my brother.
Give him your canteens, both of you, and your rations. We'll come back for you when we can, Davis. All right, Sergeant, let's go.
Tobin?
Hurry up. Do like the Colonel says. Get out of here.
But I can't leave.
You better leave. I'll be all right, you hear? You know what it'll mean if you get caught down here.
Left leg. Easy, Colonel. Let's go.
Them Federales can't be far off. We better get going.
All right, let's go. Give me the reins.
The thing Mackenzie had feared most had happened. A raider had been captured alive below the border, and the Mexican government had demanded a complete and thorough investigation of the circumstances.
And by the time I got back to the horses, the Federales had me surrounded, held me for 2 days. If I'd known they were going to bring me back here, I would have told them about Tobin.
And have him stand trial, too? Davis, the treaty between Mexico and the United States forbids any soldier from crossing the border. That's why General Gonzalez insisted on this court-martial.
Yes, sir. I reckon it's better this way. Tobin's safe, ain't he?
He's safe enough at the moment, but you're not. Everything depends on what happens at this court-martial.
Well, what do you mean, Colonel?
Adam, there are only 23 of us. 23 raiders who know what we've been up to. Everyone else is going to testify against you, according to the way things looked on the surface. That's why this court-martial may reach some pretty false conclusions.
Well, now don't you fret, Colonel. I can take care of myself.
They're going to tear you apart.
More than a few Apaches have tried the same thing. I'm still here. I ain't worried.
Davis, this is not a fight with knives and guns. There's more than one way to cut a man.
Well, now don't you give it no thought, Colonel. Really, I'm fine.
All right, Davis. I hope you remember what you've just said. I hope you remember it when the going gets real tough. A lot depends on you, Davis. The very life of the Raiders depends on you.
Yes, sir.
Trial starts in 1 hour. Good luck.
Your dress uniform, sir.
Thank you.
Secretary Cameron wanted to see you as soon as you're dressed, sir.
All right. Sergeant, remind me to make out a 5-day pass for Corporal Tobin Davis.
Yes, sir.
Just in case. Tell me something, Sergeant. What would you do if they defamed you, if they smeared your name as a soldier in public?
Oh, I'd...
Go on, tell me.
Well, I've been with the colonel for 10 years. I think he knows what I'd do.
Unfortunately, however, Adam Davis hasn't had that 10 years.
Well, he has his oath as a raider.
His oath, yes. An oath, Sergeant, is a calling upon God to witness the truth of something we say. I'm afraid that by the time this trial is over, Corporal Adam Davis may well believe that God has completely deserted him.
Colonel, the responsibility for this situation rests entirely upon your shoulders. The government cannot allow it to become a cause of war with Mexico. And if the existence of the raiders becomes known during this trial, you yourself will face court-martial. The president cannot support you.
Mr. Secretary, from the moment I received those secret orders from the president, I was aware that something like this could and probably would happen. I'm perfectly willing to take full responsibility.
Also, as president of the court, my decision will, of necessity, rest entirely upon the evidence that's presented.
I understand that, sir.
Good. Did you have a talk with this Corporal Davis?
Yes, I did.
Of course, you did not tell him that you are under secret orders from the president.
As far as he or any other raider knows, these forays across the river are entirely my instigation.
Naturally. Colonel, quite a bit depends on the outcome of this trial.
Quite a bit, sir. Most important thing being the very existence of the raiders.
Exactly. So much good has been done that, well, it would be wrong if this were the end. The president has often told me that the raiders live or die entirely with you, that he would never reactivate them if anything were to happen.
I wonder if Trooper Davis knows how important he is. Odd how throughout history so many vast enterprises have depended on just one man.
Colonel, this trial judge advocate.
Lieutenant Farron, he's a good man.
He is not a raider?
Sir, I couldn't ask a raider to be a prosecutor.
Of course. And the defense counsel?
Lieutenant Alexander, also a good man. He, too, knows nothing of the raiders.
Unless Corporal Davis, in discussing the case with him, has said something.
Well, in that case, wouldn't Lieutenant Alexander have come to me for verification?
Possibly he intends to do that at the trial. He's listed you as a witness for the prosecution.
Everyone, please rise.
Colonel Mackenzie has requested permission to address this court. It's hereby granted.
Mr. Secretary, gentlemen of the court, Lieutenant Alexander, Lieutenant Farron, inasmuch as this is a general court-martial and the very life of the accused is at stake, I, as commander in this area, am disqualified to hear the case. This court will be presided over by the Secretary of War, Mr. James Cameron. His decision and that of the court will be final, subject only to review by the President of the United States.
Lieutenant Farron, would you read the charges and specifications to the court?
This general court-martial is called to order this 23rd day of October, 1876, to hear the case of Adam Davis, Corporal, 4th United States Cavalry, 25th Regiment. Secretary of War James Cameron presiding. The accusations, to wit, Corporal Adam Davis was discovered illegally under arms and in uniform without proper authority within the confines of the country of Mexico by Federales forces. This action known by the accused to be such as to endanger the peace existing between that country and the United States.
Lieutenant Farron, you may open your case.
Mr. President, officers of the court, in my mind this is clear-cut. But I also believe there is an insidious side to this case, and I intend to prove it.
You may proceed.
As my first witness, I call Trooper John Smith to the stand.
Trooper Smith. Raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth to help you guide?
I do.
Be seated.
Trooper Smith, the accused is billeted in the same quarters as yourself, is he not?
That's right, sir.
Would you please tell the court exactly what you told me?
Well, every once in a while, he, ain't there.
Will you explain that?
Well, what I mean is we all draw our duty after morning roll call. We all kind of know what everybody else gets. A lot of times Davis draws duty, then he just ain't there.
You mean he disappears? You know where he goes?
No, sir. A couple times I seen him sneaking into the billet late at night. None of my business. Kind of suspicious, though.
Mr. Devon, have you ever had any dealings with the accused?
Sure. Like all the other soldiers, he buys tobacco and such like from me.
Has he ever sold you anything?
Yeah, some silver ornaments.
Do you know where these ornaments were made? Objection! The witness couldn't know. Mr. President, with 15 years' experience as a trader on the frontier, I believe he would know.
Objection overruled. The witness will answer.
Well, it was Mexican silver.
I see. Now, Mr. Devon, would you please tell the court just how often the accused brought these items of Mexican silver to your store? Now, one last question.
You say you've been trading on the frontier for the last 15 years?
That's right.
Then you know the Cocopas and the Maricopas.
Sure.
Would you say that these friendly Texas Indians have a way of working silver similar to the Mexicans?
Yes.
Could you tell the difference between the two?
Well, no, I reckon not.
You couldn't. Isn't it true that several other troopers have sold you items similar to those you bought from the accused?
Yeah.
No more questions.
You may step down. Call your next witness.
Next witness.
I would like to call Colonel Ronald Mackenzie to the stand. Now, Colonel, may I ask why, on 2 occasions when the accused was about to depart on furlough, why did you personally cancel his leave?
Objection. Colonel Mackenzie isn't being judged. I see no reason why he should be made to account for the handling of his command.
My apologies if I appear to be doing that. But I am trying to establish a point.
What is that point, Lieutenant?
I'm trying to show that on several occasions it was necessary for the commanding officer himself to discipline him.
In general, let me say that discipline is usually handled by my chain of command. However, with reference to the point you wish to establish, it's true that on occasion I exercise my prerogative and discipline the man personally. Corporal Davis, no more and no less than any other man.
Yes, of course. Colonel, how would you rate the accused as a soldier?
I had always rated Corporal Davis as an extremely brave and able soldier.
Had, until now.
I didn't mean...
If it please the court.
Lieutenant Alexander.
The trial judge advocate at the opening of this court-martial made a statement that there was a insidious side of this case. I fail to see any proof of this. If I may, I'd like to ask just what he's getting at with his whole line of questioning.
I'll tell you what I've been getting at. The accused is known to have disappeared from this post, to have had in his possession Mexican silver, here purported to be gotten from the Indians. I'll even admit to that. Specifically, the Indian Gatito.
It's a lie! Believe me, he's lying! He's lying!
I believe this man has treasonously funneled information to Gatito to assist him in his raid.
He's lying!
For personal consideration.
That's a lie! Believe me, he's lying!
Objection! And that he has selfishly endangered the lives of settlers in this area by bringing on the threat of retaliation from the Mexican government.
May I speak,
That there is
please?
only one conviction open to this court.
Mr. President!
Treason!
He's lying!
May I speak?
No, believe me, he's lying! He's lying!
After 4 days and nights, though prepared to die, Trooper Tobin Davis waited for the promised return of Colonel Mackenzie. With food and water almost gone, the wait would soon have to end.
I will remind you all that this is a military court, and you will conduct yourselves accordingly. I sincerely hope that the recess has given everyone time to calm down. And Lieutenant Ferrin, I warn you again, I will permit no further unfounded accusations of treason. Lieutenant Alexander, you will constrain the accused.
My apologies to the court, sir.
And this court's to Senor Escamilla, the Mexican representative. You may proceed.
Thank you, sir. Now, Colonel, will you please tell the court how long the accused has been here at Fort Clark?
I can't tell you that exactly. I'd have to consult my records.
Well, approximately.
A year, 14 months, perhaps.
How long has Corporal Tobin Davis been here?
The brothers were transferred here at the same time.
According to the records, they have served the entire time of their enlistment together. As a matter of fact, they're inseparable. Isn't that correct, sir?
It would appear so.
Well, under the circumstances, don't you find it strange that Tobin Davis isn't here at this trial? Do you know where he is at the moment?
Lieutenant Ferron, it was pointed out to you a few moments ago that Colonel Mackenzie cannot be expected to have such answers.
Sir, with the court's permission, I can give you that answer. I know where he is not. He is not here at Fort Clark.
Mr. President, I fail to see what this information proves. A check of the records of the officer of the day will undoubtedly reveal the whereabouts of Tobin Davis. Or does the trial judge advocate believe that he, too, is guilty of these accusations?
I'm afraid that my answer to that question might cause another outburst.
Now you're accusing my brother of your filthy lies!
Order! Order! Lieutenant Ferron, if you are formally accusing Corporal Tobin Davis of illegal acts, you will do so in the prescribed manner. This court-martial hearing stands adjourned until 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
Corporal. Corporal.
Colonel?
I told you it wasn't going to be easy.
I know, but Lieutenant Ferron's making me out a traitor. And Tobin, too.
The lieutenant's only doing his duty as he sees it.
But it's not right. Sure, I was across the river. The reason why, I can keep it to myself. But I can't stand...
Davis, don't you think I want to deny Lieutenant Farron's accusations? Don't you think I want everybody to know the truth about you? But it can't be that way. Even if your life depended on it, I'd have to keep my mouth shut. It's my duty to keep my mouth shut. Just like it's your duty to take anything that they throw at you on that stand.
Duty.
Exactly, Adam. Duty. Everything good that we've accomplished in this territory has been accomplished by men who saw their duty and didn't turn their backs on it. What that lad must be going through, it's not fair. It's not fair to ask that much of any man.
It's asked every time that you lead a band of raiders across the Rio Grande. They volunteered. Some have died in the field as their sacrifice. Corporal Davis is another kind of sacrifice. He must give it, and we must expect it. Colonel, there is nothing that you can do.
Yes, there is. There's one thing I can do.
What do you mean?
My leg is loosened up enough. I'm going to go after Corporal Tobin Davis.
That will not influence Corporal Davis.
That was not my intention, sir.
I apologize.
Mr. Cameron, Adam Davis or no Adam Davis, trial or no trial, I'd be going after that man in Mexico.
Of course. But what about the patrols? I understand the Federales have closed the border.
I'll get through somehow. I'll get through if I have to ride as far south as the Rio Conquist.
Just one more word. If you are caught, you will face the same fate as Corporal Davis.
That's the fate I live with, Mr. Cameron. Davis. Corporal Davis, can you hear me? Here. All right, cinch it around you. Here we go.
Didn't that good-for-nothing brother of mine come with you, Colonel?
You and I are due back at the fort.
Lieutenant Alexander, before this session began, you requested permission to address the court.
Yes, Mr. President. Against my advice, Corporal Davis wants to take the witness stand.
Corporal, are you aware of the consequences once you take the oath?
Yes, sir, I am.
You will be open to cross-examination by the trial judge advocate.
I know, sir.
Sergeant Wells.
Corporal Davis. Raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Be seated.
You may address the board, Corporal.
Strange. I stand over there and I tell the truth. It can't be heard. I am out of order. Over here, it can be heard.
Judicial procedure was not devised in this court, Corporal. What is it that you wish to say?
Under oath, before God, I want to wipe out the lies told about my brother. My brother is guilty of nothing. He is innocent of the accusations made here. I'm on trial. Think what you will of me. He's not here to defend himself.
And your impassioned plea was most touching, perhaps even to be believed. But it is my belief that you are guilty. Guilty of illegal dealings below the border. Guilty of treason.
That's a lie!
Then will you kindly, for the benefit of this court, tell us what you were doing below the border? Well, Corporal Davis, we're waiting for your answer. What were you doing in Mexico?
The accused will answer.
I refuse to answer.